It says, the story of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion will basically not change from the original game. However, even if we say that, there might be some who played Remake or watched the Rebirth trailer and felt that something was off. Right, so if you're not changing anything, why mention this at all? Hello everybody, Gizmo here, hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I thought we'd have a look at the interviews from Kitase and Nomura regarding Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as it seems that the two titles are more interlinked than we originally thought. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. And 4Gamer asks, please tell us more about Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion, as the original Crisis Core is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII and plays a vital role to the compilation story and became a very popular title as well. And as a result, the fan response was huge after hearing of the HD remaster. And Kitase says, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, Zack makes much more appearances than in the original game. And because of that, we wanted people who played Final Fantasy VII Remake to have a deep dive into who exactly is Zack. And that's why we decided to do a HD remaster of Crisis Core and why Zack is the protagonist. And basically, this is just Kitase speak for saying that, yes, Zack is going to have a bigger role in Rebirth than we were initially led to believe. You know, it's confirmation that Zack is indeed alive in the Rebirth universe, essentially. And 4Gamer says, I'm not sure if it's alright to ask this, but since Crisis Core will be releasing and is apparently supposed to connect with Final Fantasy VII Remake, does that mean the story will change? And Kitase says the story will be faithfully reproduced with respect to the original material. We will not change the story as a result of the influence from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the parts that will be similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake are related to assets and battle elements. It seems like Kitase is just saying, yeah, we're borrowing elements and aspects from Remake regarding the graphical design just to keep a bit of continuity between Reunion and Remake. And I think this is interesting just because of a translation that's going to come up later on in the video that kind of swings what Kitase means about Reunion in a different light. So yeah, look forward to that. And Nomura, we made some adjustments visually to fit in with Final Fantasy VII Remake, such as the Buster Sword and summon designs. Again, they're speaking about the designs of things rather than the story itself. And Gamer says, I see, I was actually thinking that you might add in some kind of surprise in the story, right? And Nomura says, regarding why we'll leave it unchanged, if we are to change it, then the differences we have shown with the Final Fantasy VII Remake project compared to the original will be for naught. For the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, if you are to play it through to the end, you will see a mystery unravel before you. We do not plan to change the past, and on that same note, we do not want to modify or add anything to Crisis Core Reunion because history has not changed. And this is interesting because it's basically saying that Crisis Core Reunion will be a faithful remaster to the original, which is what I thought it was going to be, right? But it also leads this kind of potential for Reunion to have like a post-credit scene that will link straight to Rebirth regarding Zack's story. Because if we don't change anything, right, in Reunion at all, and it's just a remaster, at the end of the game, Zack dies. There is no two ways about it. So if nothing changes, then how exactly does Zack come back for Rebirth? Unless what they're basically saying is Reunion's on its own, complete remaster. Rebirth's going to kick in a story which basically brings Zack back. I don't know. They're being a bit sly with the wording, I feel. And 4Gamer says, so what you're saying is that even though the Final Fantasy VII Remake project is portrayed differently than the original, what happens up until that point remains the same. Nomura, yes, exactly. It might give you a sense of uneasiness or foster doubt, so you might ask, why is Zack heading to Midgar with Cloud in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's trailer? Well, the answers will unfold as you play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Again, this idea that Zack's being alive is basically canon to just Rebirth and not to Crisis Core Reunion, if that makes sense. But in that case, then what we're getting is that Crisis Core is this like pocket of events, and what could happen in the timeline is nothing changes, so Crisis Core basically goes on and branches off to the OG Final Fantasy VII, right? But if something changes, the cough cough, Zack being alive, then Crisis Core's events tangent off into Remake and Rebirth. I think that's what they're kind of getting at. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because basically what they're doing with Reunion is making this game that can cater to all fans, and I love this idea. However, if nothing changes at the end of Reunion. Then I'll highlight it again. Zack dies. How does he come back in Rebirth? It just doesn't make sense to me. Alright, I'm just looking for the next insert that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so this one is from Dengeki Online, 557 Rebirth interview. It says, since the current titles for Final Fantasy VII Remake are Remake, Reunion, and Rebirth, can we assume that the next title will also start with Re? Nomura, I wonder, laughs. Since I would like the Final Fantasy VII Remake project titles to all share the similar hashtag or abbreviation with Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? I'm thinking that the third installment will also start with an R. And I'm quite intrigued with the cutscene in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth where we see Cloud and Sephiroth walking. Nomura, since the announcement trailer was only a teaser one, there wasn't much info in it. The next trailer will be the one that has info that will surely surprise you. So, they're teasing an upcoming trailer that we have not yet seen. So that's cool. And at a glance, it seems that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had an open world. Nomura will explain that in the next info drop. And I just want to go back to up at the top where he says about all the remake titles kind of having this continuity with the R thing. And it's interesting that he says that because Crisis Core Reunion has the R thing going on, right? Kind of interesting, especially if it's to link with the original compilation with no changes at all. By the way, if you're liking this video so far, I just want to invite you to pop the like button and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for doing that. Let's crack on. And there are many who hope to see Red 13 as a playable character in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Nomura, please look forward to it. See? So at the end of Remake, we couldn't play as Nanaki, and they basically said the reason for this was because he arrived at the end of the game. So even if they made him playable, you would literally only play him for maybe the final boss, and that would be it, right? So basically, with Rebirth, yes, Nanaki and all the other party members will in fact be playable. And I would even say, from the trailer that we've seen so far, we're going to get to play as Sephiroth. Let's be real. Especially in that flashback scene, it's not going to be controlled by a bot anymore, because why would it be, right? There's no reason for that. It's just a flashback scene. Let us play as Sephiroth for a little bit, go back to the original party. It'll be fine. And what exactly will Final Fantasy VII Rebirth cover when compared to the original game? Kitase, while I can't reveal a clear picture for you, there will not be any lack of major events that appear in the original game. However, the locations that appear in the original game might not be present in the same order in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And Nomura says, in other words, even though the order of locations have changed, that doesn't mean the location itself is omitted, so please do not worry about that. And I find this interesting just to know that the areas have been shuffled, because not only does it give an equal footing for new players of the franchise, but also people that played the original compilation as well. And it would just be interesting just to see which locations crop up earlier or later on in the story, as there are only 2 parts left. And I must admit, one of my fears of the game was that it would be cut in areas just due to compensating for the new story elements that they will be added in. So yeah, it's nice to know that they are actually trying to be as faithful as possible while also bring us a new story. Rebirth is basically the Final Fantasy VII sequel. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Audrey, since I'm getting all these information posts directly from Audrey. Thank you for doing all this. And now we're going to move on to this section here, because I think it's quite interesting, bearing in mind the previous parts of the interviews where they said they will not be changing any story elements, that in a translation through a China interview, we get this from Kitase, right? And it says, the story of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion will basically not change from the original game. However, even if we say that, there might be some who played Remake or watched the Rebirth trailer and felt that something was off. Right. So if you're not changing anything, why mention this at all, right? Unless there's like a post-credit scene. Why mention that? And as such, you can consider Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion as a part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. With that in mind, we hope you enjoy Zack's story along with the strange feeling that was brought forth from Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I would just want to put the record straight out here and say that yes, I do believe that most of the game, if not all of it, is going to be a complete remaster of the original Crisis Core. Because as Nomura says, we're not changing the past, just the future here, right? In terms of Rebirth. So Reunion can follow the same patterns and story beats of the original Crisis Core without an issue. And it really just puts into perspective that, yeah, Crisis Core Reunion actually is part of the remake series and will link directly into Rebirth in some way. I've still got my chips down in that it will still be a post-credit scene, so that the rest of Reunion can function as a remaster, and then this post-credit scene, maybe a secret ending after you've completed like 100% completion or the hidden boss or something, and then it bridges that gap between Reunion to Rebirth, and it gives us a little hint of what to expect come next year, right? Because I think that would be the best thing to do in terms of Reunion. So to make it this hybrid remaster is actually a good move by Square, and you can tell by Kitase, the way Kitase answers some of these questions, that he's thinking about all the fan base in total, and Nomura is more of the creative side. He's just got his directive vision and all that, and just concerned with the story and concept. He doesn't really care about the marketing side of it, which is why I appreciate how Kitase frames Reunion and says, yeah, the story's not going to change, but it's still going to link into remake. You know, it pleases all the fans, keeps everyone happy, and makes us anticipate what is going to actually happen with Reunion. And I just want to end this by saying that I do have a theory for Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and it revolves around Aerith's death, because honestly, I believe that Aerith will die still. And I think they use like a red herring with Tifa's line saying, "Are you saying that I died? You think I'm an imposter?" I think that was the line. But I think that's more going to be situated between Aerith, right? We get Tifa in the trailer just to make us not, think of anything. But in the actual game, I think that's going to be more centered around Aerith. I honestly feel like Zack is going to be the one that kills Aerith this time around, not Sephiroth. So I think Zack's there to try and maintain the actual timeline, even though, yes, they can change the future, it's a different universe, whatever. I think there's some purity in terms of the live stream and stopping Sephiroth that, yes, Aerith does need to die. I don't know if they're going to have these touching moments or whatever with Zack and Aerith, but it'll be interesting just to flip that bit of the script, and not have Sephiroth or the Genova clone be the one that actually kills Aerith, or maybe Aerith's already gone and she's actually a Genova clone herself. Who knows? I just want to give you one last thing to look at, and I cannot believe it's actually happening, but here we are. Final Fantasy VII Remake Cloud figurine. Cloudette figurine, sorry. I think it's hilarious that they've actually they've done all of them, like all the figurines, but this one sticks out to me the most because I can't believe they've actually made a Cloudette figurine. Like, I was hoping or expecting that they would someday, but to actually see it, props to you, Square. You're doing fantastic. Keep it up. Anyway, that's all for today's video, and I'm really hoping that the interviews with Kitase and Nomura really help uncover exactly what Crisis Core Reunion actually is. And the reason for me making this video was because I made one about a month ago detailing where I thought Crisis Core Reunion was a remaster or a remake. So it's nice to have that clarification going forward. And I'd also like to know what you think about Rebirth and Remake and Reunion down in the comments below. And also, if you have any fan theories that you would like to be let known to the world, then please pop them down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Anyway, that's all from me, and I really hope you continue to have a really good day. I'll see you around.